So forget what you think you know about the AI race. It's not just a simple sprint anymore to see who can build the smartest model. No, it's become this full-blown, multi-front war for who's going to own the future. And the battle lines, they're being drawn in some really unexpected places. So let's break down these new AI battlegrounds.
Look, the question on everyone's mind is pretty simple, right? Who's actually winning this thing? Well, the answer is way more complicated than you might think, mainly because we've all been kind of looking in the wrong places. See, victory isn't about hitting one single metric. It's about dominating several key fronts all at once.
Okay, so to really get who's out in front, we got to map out this whole battlefield. You have to forget just asking who's got the smartest chatbot. The real fight for the future of AI, it's happening on 3 completely different new fronts. And here's how we're going to break this down. First up, you've got the battle for creativity. Like, who's going to own the actual tools we use to make stuff and express ourselves? Second, there's this war over platforms. Who's going to control the foundational ecosystems that all the developers are building on? And finally, the race for hardware. Who will own the physical gadgets that bring AI into every single moment of our lives?
All right, let's jump into that first front, creativity. And you have to see what Google is doing here, because it's a really fascinating play. They're not just trying to help you create AI art, they're trying to fundamentally own the future of how we express ourselves socially with AI.
So at the heart of Google's entire strategy is this new thing called LIIA 3. It's the latest version of their music model, and they've plugged it right into Gemini and YouTube. But here's the really clever part. LIIA 3 is multimodal. What does that mean? It means it can understand different kinds of input. It's not just text. You can feed it an image or even a video you just shot, and it'll spit out a custom soundtrack for it. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're tempted to compare LIIA to something like Suno, right? Which creates full, entire songs. But that would be missing the point completely. Google is not playing the same game here. They are not trying to create a Grammy-winning album. They're trying to power millions and millions of 30-second clips that are destined to go viral on YouTube Shorts.
And you don't even have to take my word for it. Google's own words lay out their whole strategy. This is not about professional music. It's about making AI a fun, easy-to-use tool for your everyday social media. They don't want to write the next big hit. They want to create the soundtrack for your next viral video.
But don't mistake fun for simple. Seriously. The real technological flex here, the thing that's truly impressive, is the video-to-audio alignment. Getting that AI-generated music and those vocals to perfectly sync up with the action in a video, that is an incredibly difficult challenge. And it's kind of a quiet signal of just how powerful Google's tech is getting under the hood. So if these companies are building all these amazing creative tools, the next logical fight is over who gets to use them and how. And that brings us to our second front, the walled garden war. This isn't about cool new features. This is about control. And it's creating this huge rift between the big AI labs and the developers we're trying to build on their tech.
And this tension it blew up recently. Anthropic, the company behind the AI model Claude, they quietly updated their terms of service. And this new rule, it seemed to block developers from using your personal subscriptions to power all these popular third-party tools, which would basically cut them off at the knees.
And the backlash was immediate. I mean, developers who had built their entire workflows around these tools felt like the rug had just been pulled out from under them. And as one user pointed out, we're not just talking about hobbyists here. These were paying customers.
So Anthropic had to backpedal, and they did it pretty fast. They framed it as, a simple misunderstanding. Their core message was basically this. Look, we're fine with you tinkering around for your own personal projects, but if you're building a commercial business on our tech, we want you to pay for proper API access, not use a personal subscription as some cheap workaround.
But here's the thing. While Anthropic was taking all the heat for this, they weren't actually doing anything new. As a lot of industry watchers pointed out, both OpenAI and Google already have pretty similar rules in place. So Anthropic isn't some outlier here. They're just the latest company to fall in line with a growing industry trend. So what's the big takeaway for you here? Well, we're watching a classic tech showdown play out. On one side, you've got the spirit of open, freewheeling innovation from developers. And on the other side, you've got these massive AI labs that are trying to build profitable, controlled ecosystems, these walled gardens. And whoever wins this fight is going to shape the future of AI for all of us. All right, let's move on to our final front, hardware. Because it doesn't matter how creative the AI is or how locked down the platform is, all of it has to get to you through a physical device, and the race is on to own that device. The next big battlefield? It just might be your wrist.
Believe it or not, after killing the project just a couple of years ago, Meta is officially back in the smartwatch game. And this isn't just about trying to compete with the Apple Watch. No, this is a huge strategic move to secure a permanent home for the Meta AI assistant on a device you literally wear every single day.
I mean, it's been a total roller coaster for Meta's smartwatch dreams. The original project was called Malibu, and it was this really bold idea that got completely shelved back in 2022. But then, just last year, it was brought back from the dead as Malibu 2, and now it's on the fast track for a release.
And the most telling detail here is the change in focus. The original concept was this gadget lover's dream, packed with 2 cameras and this futuristic nerve-reading tech. The revived version? It's much more streamlined. It's basically a health tracker with one absolutely crucial addition, a powerful built-in AI assistant. The AI has gone from just being a feature to being the star of the entire show.
So this move squarely positions Meta as the challenger in a market that's just been dominated by 2 giants. They are making a massive bet that their advanced Meta AI assistant can give them a critical edge against Apple and Google, the incumbents who've basically owned the smartwatch space for years.
So, those are the 3 main fronts today. But this whole war is constantly changing, and we're already seeing a few smaller skirmishes that are hinting at what the battlegrounds of tomorrow might look like.
Yeah, we're seeing these radically different approaches to what intelligence even means. In one corner, you've got something like xAI's Grok, which is experimenting with a council of agents that literally debate answers among themselves. And then in another corner, you've got the benchmark wars, where some models will post these incredible test scores, but then just completely fall flat on real-world agentic tasks. Tasks that require them to actually take independent actions to solve a problem. And this leads to a really critical lesson for anyone trying to follow what's going on in the AI world. The message from the front lines is crystal clear. Take those benchmark scores, or evals, with a huge grain of salt. A model that aces a standardized test isn't always the best tool for the job. The only way you can really know for sure is to test it yourself, on real work.
So this leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? The war for AI supremacy is being fought across creativity, platforms, and hardware. But which one of those fronts is going to be the one that proves decisive? Is the winner going to be the company that captures our social creativity, the one that controls the developers, or the one that owns the device that we just can't live without? Right now, it is absolutely anyone's guess.